I tell you what, this is what...
around and drinking gin and tonics with your celeb mate.
You meet loads of great people in that box. It's probably mid-flow and you were like, should we have a selfie? It's Brian O'Driscoll and his wife were in there. Oh, Andrew Strauss in the paddock looking for you. Clang, 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 clang. No bad vibes there.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 in season 2 of Running Loose. I mean, do we have to introduce ourselves again? My name's Francesca and
And I'm Vanessa Ryle, but we do hope you know that by now.
Yes, we do hope you know that. And we've got a new location for the week. Tell us where we are.
Yeah, so as many of you will know, we have to sort of find various different locations in terms of where we are in the country, but we just need to find somewhere out halfway. So we're at Lodge Farm Stud, which is owned by my friend Hannah Brown and is the base of another friend of mine, a girl called Abby Walters, who was an event rider and now a show jumper. If you want to see something very cool, go on their Lodge Farm Instagram account and look back at the reel of Abby jumping around Burley horse trials.
Yeah.
That was when I lived with them back in the day. And she had a horse that was like 15.2. And she got it fit by walking it up a steep hill for weeks on end. And she took it around Burley, and I promise you, she made it look like a pony club intro track. It's the coolest bit of horse riding you'll ever see.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's
stunning
beautiful.
spot. Really lovely. And we have got a lot to get through this week because it's our Wash Up from Ascot podcast. And Ascot basically ran from Tuesday to Saturday. It was extremely hot, but we also were treated to sizzling action on the track. I don't really know where to start in terms of picking out our highlights from the week. But also, but firstly, how have you pulled out? How do you recover? Because we finished Saturday night. Yeah. It's now Tuesday morning. How are you feeling? I mean, I noticed the feet are bare. Have you worn shoes since Saturday?
I actually have worn shoes since Saturday, but the shoes were... I do so much walking when I'm there. I do a lot of steps, and the feet, one or two of the days, the feet literally ruin the day. I hate that. As a woman, you're just... It's
blisters
just like,
or just
kind
sore?
Of just, that sore feeling. Yeah. But in terms of a welfare check after pulling up, I'd say I pulled up at about a 2 out of 10 on Saturday evening. I'm an extrovert, right? And the job that I do is essentially socialising and sort of co-hosting, being involved with the Howden team, David and Fiona Howden. And it is just so full on.
And you're chatting all day.
And you're talking horses and you're talking other things all day. And you meet so many different people and you're up and down to the paddock, and it's a great gig. I absolutely love it. And I am I think I'm the perfect person for it because I'm such an extrovert.
Yeah.
And I love it. But even by my standards, I drove home on Saturday night and it's only an hour 20 home for me. And I thought I was going to have to pull over in the services for a little rest. I was so exhausted. Have you
just done your best not to speak to anyone since Saturday night?
Well, you'd think so, but of course I had to go off to Foss Lass on Sunday for Sky.
Oh, no.
So
and the weather looked horrendous.
Yeah, that was a low point. Even my producer was just like, you just stay in the press room, Vanessa. I think it was just, that was survival, right? That was surviving, not thriving.
So it's brought you back to earth with a bang.
Yeah. What about you? How did you pull up?
Well, I've discovered a good cure for insomnia because sometimes I don't sleep that well, but turns out since Ascot I have slept like a dead person, and in the morning when this baby starts screaming I'm just like, no, because my whole body is just, when it goes into that really heavy, deep sleep. But yeah, that's what Ascot can do for you. And I got a great tan, as well, from standing in the middle of the paddock in the searing sun.
Yeah.
Luckily, Sarah got me some dresses that were really light, which thank God, because for the men... Especially if you're not undercover, if you're not in the air conditioning, a lot of my co-presenters, a lot of the cameramen as well, wearing heavy coats, waistcoats, shirts. I mean, they were just dripping underneath.
Oh, please, it's disgusting.
I know.
It's disgusting. I saw you, because your location in the paddock is... It's just like being in the Sahara. There's no shade at all. You're just right in the middle. Yeah. There's barely any wind.
And we've got these hedges surrounding us as well, which means there's no breeze.
There's no
whatsoever.
breeze. I walked past you quite a few times, my glamorous guests sort of waving, having come out of the air conditioning and having had a drink. I think there was one time where you were aiming to come over and I was like, not now. I can't even remember who I was with at that point.
I feel like you just gave me this shake of the head.
No! No!
Okay, all right, with your celebrity guest. Don't worry about me.
So yeah, that role that I do, because Howden are obviously principal partners there, they get a few paddock passes, and so you can take people down into the paddock and sort of give them a bit of an experience down there, but you're not it's a really weird mix because you're not there to say, right, now what's going to happen is this, because obviously lots of people know that already, or are racing people. Some people aren't, though. Some people just get down there and they just want to look at the horses and they ask questions, and it's just quite the whole idea is that it makes the guests in the box a bit more attached to the racing rather than just coming racing and going to the box. But yeah, occasionally I was probably mid-flow and you were like, should we have a selfie? Whereas it should be the other way around, because there was a moment where you were on air and I came up behind you thinking that you weren't on air, and I was like, "Ooh, no, you are."
Oh, don't get to the back of the shop.
But I just feel for you guys. You're just stood there in the searing heat.
It is really hot. Thankfully, our runners, who did a great job all week, were very good at bringing us enormous, very iced coffees, which were great. They kept us going. By the way, this is delicious. Our elderflower Edinburgh Gin and Tonic, which doesn't even taste like a gin and tonic because it's lighter on the alcohol front, but tastes basically like a cordial.
It's elderflower liqueur, and it literally tastes like elderflower cordial.
You could drink that way too easily. It's not as strong as the dry gin, though, is it?
But it is absolutely delicious. I actually, so in terms of, so that's kind of how my day works.
Were you allowed to drink in the box, or did you not?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, never. I think you don't get, like, I drive every day, so I would start, I go in there. My day, shall I run you through my day?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, very briefly. Get up at 6, run the dogs around the farm behind the car, so they've had a walk. Get back home.
The car.
7 o'clock Betfair podcast to preview the following day's racing.
Oh, confusing.
So that goes out.
Yeah.
You're really confusing. 8 o'clock, leave the house, arrive at Ascot 9:30, hair and makeup 10 till 11:30, and then I go up to the box for a 12 o'clock start. Guests start arriving then, and then I'm there until the end.
And do you do a kind of intro chat, and this is what's happening, and this is who to back?
Yeah, each day's a little bit different, but most days when David's there, David Howden will do a little hello to everyone, and they're great because the guests can be anyone and everything. So we had royals in there, you have sports stars, their partners, celebrities, CEOs of companies. I mean, they're all just thrown together. So it's a really cool mix of people. Each day, it's not sort of separated into sports people or insurance people, or it's sort of all thrown together. And then but when they sit down for lunch, David will do a little intro piece. He introduces me, normally takes the piss out of me for tipping a few losers the day before, and then I just run through the card, but in a very relaxed manner. I do it really quickly because I'm there all day. So
they can come and ask you. Yeah. I hope they don't kind of note down all the tips and then kind of give you running appraisal.
Some people do that. Mike Tyndall in particular is a big one for that. Yeah, he's like, he writes them down, then halfway through the day he's just like, what's happening, Vanessa?
And then you were quite well behaved, because for the end of the day, I saw you once in the car park on Tuesday night.
Yeah,
for a
I did
drink.
Tuesday picnic. Again, that place just gets like madder and madder.
It really does. I mean, you were like a saxophone player on top of a stand with a DJ going on in the car park. I was like, bloody hell, this has got a bit wilder since I used to kind of come here in my youth. But it's amazing because the parties are there before racing and after racing. I apologise to anyone whose picnic I accidentally kind of barged into, because you kind of just get
sucked in. You were in a few.
Don't
well,
you?
I saw you just mooching round. I was up at the Tattersalls Great British Racing International picnics.
Yeah.
And that was really jolly. I saw your co-host, Ed Chamberlain, up there. And then I wandered down to the Breeders' Cup picnic, saw you down there. But I mean, it's basically a free-for-all.
It is a bit, isn't it?
It's mad.
It is a little bit. But a fun one, but not to be done every night. And the thing is, on Tuesday, isn't it? Everyone's fresh, everyone's excited, everyone's
the day I went,
happy to see each other, and it all gets a little bit...
By Saturday, I'm just sick of you. Absolutely sick of you. Sick of the look of you. Tell me, what does your day go like?
So my day is kind of get up, probably 6-ish. Don't have the dogs to run around. I pretty much get up and have a shower, go straight to the desk, catch up on any notes that I haven't done, look at races that I haven't completed, because there's 7 races, and you turn the page and you're like, oh my god, another field with like 30 runners, and you've got to try and know something about every horse. I try and target it, so the races I'm going around the paddock talking about the horses, you kind of got to know something about all of them, whereas the later handicaps, you can kind of just look at the main ones in the field, and between the 3 of you on the panel, Jason, Megan or Adele and I, you can kind of bounce it around. And we've got Luke at the start, and we've got Ollie and Rishi and Matt doing all the interviews. But it's hard kind of keeping across everything. By Saturday, the notes get thinner and thinner on the ground, and then you look down, you can't even read your writing. You're like, oh God. And actually Saturday just got a bit silly. Like everyone was just so tired and giddy and probably quite relaxed into it, actually, that had quite a few laughs as well. Yeah. Just things that people kind of say. Jason was like, oh, and look at his ears. He's the winner of the first race on the last day. He's like, look, he's quite intelligent, he's obviously done it quite easily, he's got one ear pricked and the other is just looking at the horse on the right of him. I was like, oh really, his ears looking, is it? and then we had Luke Harvey in the paddling pool and stuff. Did you see
classic.
That was funny. None of us knew that was coming, so that was hilarious. In the paddling pool with his top hat on. And it's so funny, things like that, they get such mixed reviews. Some people are like, oh my god, this race, ITV Racing's really going to the pits, they think that's funny, just show us the horses and all of that. And other people are like, this is great, it's light-hearted. And I think for our audience, it's kind of what you need, because we have a lot of solid horse back-to-back race info, etc. So a little bit of fun is all right.
Your classic ITV bit of content that got a lot of traction was the interview with Pips Hardwick, or Pips, that one with
I actually didn't see that. I think I saw something on Twitter
my
about
God.
it, but I must have been off the podium at that point. Who is Pips Hardwick?
So he's going to be the 11th Earl of Hardwick, or whatever it is, and he's a Viscount, or I don't know. You just got to watch it back. It's like,
Who did the interview?
Chappers.
Yeah.
And Chappers has obviously been teed up to do it. So he goes over and he's like, this is Pips. Pips is like, this is his family race. He's a Hardwick. And he's this man. I mean, I'm not, I just, it's like a caricature.
And was he aggressively posh?
But it's not even his voice. His voice actually isn't that posh. And
Right.
I think I come across like a real posh twat sometimes. But his voice, it's not so much his voice, it's just what he says.
Yeah.
Like, you watch it back, it's just classic. He's talking about when his dad dies, and the sad day when my father passes, I will be the Earl of Hardwick. It's just the delivery.
Obviously, this was around the
classic.
Hardwick
Yeah,
Stakes, the
yeah.
race. I'm trying to
It's
think of
very
it,
funny,
but-
but you get a mixed bag of people there. I mean, I love a bit of people watching. I was wandering around the place a couple of, when you just get a light, when you don't have to do something or you don't have to be anywhere. And the sights you see and the people you see, I just love it. I love how much effort people put in. I love the sort of cross-section of society you get from everybody just outside the Royal Enclosure enjoying themselves to inside the Royal Enclosure as well. It's a great place.
I was wondering that actually, because I haven't had a chance to watch it back, but I saw a few comments online saying there's not enough fashion stuff on the broadcast. And in a way, yes, because like you've just said, people watching is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think the fashion side of things has got bigger and better every year. And you do get people going there purely to dress up or purely to enjoy being in that environment. And other meetings elsewhere, I mean, notably at the Melbourne Cup, they have like a whole stage catwalk scenario where you have like a millinery competition, you have the designer category, and then you have, more regular people wearing things that they've made even. And it gives a focus for the cameras, because I think the old-fashioned thing at Ascot where, you get these fashion experts going up to people and being like, oh, you look great, or like, oh, doesn't she look dreadful, or something. It's probably a bit outdated.
Yeah.
But if you had a more dedicated fashion area, you could make a bit more of it. Or maybe even like just doing montages at the end of the day, but you have cameramen going around getting like the best dressed people throughout the day. Because it is such a big element of it.
I saw some wicked outfits.
Wicked.
Like, really cool.
Yeah.
One, I think my standout one was Oswald Boateng's partner.
Yeah.
Hannah, I think her name is Hannah. She had a white jumpsuit designed by Oswald Boateng.
Can I show my ignorance? Who's Oswald Boateng?
He is a really famous Savile Row suit designer.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool guy. He's in the Howden box. He's been there a couple of times. And was just like the smart, beautiful. A beautifully cut suit. I mean, he just looked amazing. And then his partner, Hannah, oh my God, I was just looking at them like, what is that what we need?
I think you came to the paddock at one point with a lady in an amazing black dress.
Oh, she's a model.
Yeah.
She wears Dior every year.
Oh, amazing.
3 years
I did
running,
spot
I've
that
said
one.
to her, what are you wearing? In the first year, classically, when I met her, we were going down to the paddock together, chatting away. And she said, oh, I like your dress. And I said, oh, it's just Zara. And she said, oh, that's nice. And I said, I like yours too. And she said, oh, it's Dior. And I was like, of course it is. And I mean, she's one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. I mean, the way she moves with such grace and the way she holds herself.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
More importantly, did you find any fans of the podcast in the Howden box?
Not in the Howden box.
What?
Not in the Howden box.
Did you convert
actually.
some people into fans
I
of the
spoke about the
podcast?
podcast quite a lot,
Did you?
actually. Yeah, people love it. People love that. But I spoke about it actually in the Howden box. I can't remember who it was to now. Oh, God, who was it? But yeah, it did get a lot of chat. I had a lot of people coming up to me.
But do you remember that moment in the paddock? We were stood together, and was it Lizzie Collins who came up and said, oh, I'm the #1 fan of the podcast. And as we were chatting, someone else came up thinking, oh, girls, I'm the #1 fan of the podcast.
I know,
We were like,
that,
hang on.
the #1 spot has been well filled. I love it. Did you have a few people?
Yeah, lots.
Yeah.
I mean, predominantly women, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's inevitable because we probably do appeal more to women who want that extra chat, a bit of fashion. Okay, I think we need to move on to outfits because fashion is a massive part of Royal Ascot. And I thought you looked amazing every day. Some I preferred more than others.
Fair enough.
I think you really hit the ground running on day one, by the way.
That red matador outfit.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Great sleeves.
Yeah.
Very cinched in. Good waist.
Yeah.
Good belt around the waist. All very like well styled and good accessories highlighting it all.
Well, styled by a lady who approached me through the podcast, which is very cool. Yeah, styled by Charlie on Instagram, and she got in contact with me through a friend. And
That's
basically,
great.
I think I said to you, I'd bought items, but I just hadn't brought any of it together. And it really is all in the
Let's
detail.
give her a plug. What's her Instagram?
At Styled by Charlie.
At Styled by Charlie.
Yeah, and she was class because I just sent her what I had brought, and then she put all the details in, which is what actually made the outfit. So like the belt and the bag and the earrings. She'd lent me the red earrings, and that was from a Spanish brand called Bayan, and I think that probably was my best outfit.
Yeah, loved it. Least favourite was the dungarees.
Yeah, you didn't like them.
No, it's too big for you.
Yeah.
Not flattering.
No.
Now you're such a skinny mini and like toned up. Hashtag thanks to Eli. You need to
Yeah, I know. I don't. It wasn't my favourite, but weirdly, I actually think I will wear that again. As in, not to Royal Ascot, but I think I'll get wear out of them. But I don't think it was quite right, funnily enough. But hey, look, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Especially when you do it yourself, especially when you do it last minute, like I do.
Yeah. No, considering I think you did very well.
And what about yours? I love that. I love the pink. Sort of the very feminine pink polka dot with the halter neck. It was just beautiful.
That was
you looked
vintage.
beautiful in it.
Actually, Sarah, I saw that on her rail and I was like, oh, that's nice. She went, it's tiny, you won't get into it. And I was like, yes, I will. Yes, I will. So I paid for that bit of arrogance because it was very tight on the waist, which is very clever. She put an extra bit of belt with a bow so that you couldn't tell quite how tight it was. Potentially pushing the boundaries a little bit because most of my back was uncovered, which is great for tanning purposes. And it had a really fun hat as well with a little cockatoo on it. Little
very
jeweled
cute
cockatoo.
It's all in the detail. It's all in the detail.
Amazing.
Probably of yours, I actually liked all of your outfits, in fairness. I didn't think you had a shocker any of the days. Probably my least favourite was maybe the top hat.
Oh really? See, quite divisive, the top hat, a bit Marmite-y. A lot of people loved it. It was probably quite fashion. So
Sorry, what?
like fashion, as in it's not like me at the day of the races. It's like quite high fashion. You know, the top hat's quite a dramatic look.
Yes,
so you either loved it or you didn't really like it.
Yeah.
No.
You know, either or. But I thought you looked great. Great in the main. Yeah.
Thanks.
And it was hot as well, so you know you just have to dress for the moment.
It really was.
Get back out, you little slut. And if you haven't been watching on YouTube and you have been listening in normal audio form and you wonder what on earth we're talking about, then check out
a very annoying conversation.
Yeah, really annoying actually. Apologise for that. But check out the links. They will be in the podcast description, and then you can link through to mine and Jessica's Instagram page, and then you can see highlights and lowlights from the week that was.
Well, we should talk about some horses, shouldn't we?
Okay, well let's do what were the highlights?
There were so many. I mean, there were so many. Probably the best horse we saw all week had to be Field of Gold on the first day in the St James's Palace. Pulled clear of the field, looks sensational. Yep. Excited about him for the rest of the year. I thought Trawler Man was wonderful in the Gold Cup, 2.5 miles. He was just so solid, just galloped out to the line. Brilliant win. And then I thought Rebel's Romance on the last day because poor Charlie Appleby. This just goes to show how hard it is to train a winner at Royal Ascot. He hadn't had a winner at Royal Ascot since 2022, and he's got one of the best stables in the country, best bloodstock, most expensive horses, best facilities. That is how hard it is. He had to rely on the 7-year-old globetrotter, Rebel's Romance, who's already won over £10 million in prize money to give him a win. And he's just a star. He's the most stunning horse. My God, you want to take him and have him in your paddock. But for them, he really dug them out of a hole, and I think that just made it all the more emotional.
It's like, he looks like Black Beauty. He's just beautiful.
Yeah.
He's a globetrotter, so he's got an association across the world, quite literally, with various different racing fans, which I love. And then every time Charlie relies on him, he comes up trumps. I just love that. And I love, somebody said it earlier in the week to me, it was kind of like, who's Charlie going to call when he's in trouble? It's like, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? No, you're going to call Rebel's Romance.
Yeah.
And he's just such a star. And I love that you see the picture of Charlie's kids with him.
Yeah, always.
Just brilliant. It's just class.
Also on that day, you would have seen it from the other side of the track. Did you enjoy Lazat's antics?
I missed it all.
You missed it all?
I missed it all.
How?
All of it. I don't know. I was having a drink. I don't know. I don't know. So hilariously, and I tipped him in the box.
Did you?
So everyone was thrilled. Everyone was happy. And then I must have got chatting to somebody. And I don't know what happened. I just totally missed it.
So if you weren't watching, it was quite funny because the horse wins. French sprinter did really well to win. Jockey goes and pulls up, comes back. And I think he's not fully concentrating. He's kind of celebrating and relaxing. Gets back. And I think it was the trainer or maybe an assistant or something had the winning sheet that they go to kind of throw over the horses when they go back in the walkway, But back to your Matador outfit on Tuesday, he literally flicked up the sheet just as the horse was coming back. Horse slams the brakes on, spins around, James Doyle gets unshipped, and then he canters all the way down to Swinley Bottom, like halfway around the track, turns around, canters back, they try and catch him, he nearly kicks someone's head off, turns around, canters all the way back to Swinley Bottom, and then eventually they get him back. But meanwhile, we're kind of padding and filling, and James Doyle comes back in
on his feet,
having actually got the saddle off, and then the horse goes to then go back to the stables, but then they eventually bring it back in.
Yeah, it was chaos.
It was
and
chaos.
Then what it meant for your broadcasting is you were really late.
Yeah, but Ascot did really well to kind of make up the time.
Also funny because Lazat is clearly a monkey because he was gelded before he was ever raced, and he rare you see that behaviour from a Group 1 horse, really.
Yeah, so look how much running he had still left
and
in him.
Not a fuck given basically from him. I mean,
but Jason literally made the comment on TV. He went, "Oh, it's not a Matador," as the guy picked up the sheet, because it's not the cleverest move.
Yeah, that's true.
But that was quite interesting. And then got to mention Harry Eustace, who took 5 horses to Ascot, won 2 Group 1s.
Yeah.
The first race of the day, on day 1, the Queen Anne with Docklands by a nose, and then Time for Sandals in the Commonwealth Cup, both Group 1s. And even his face after the race, you could just see the cameras were on him. He was just like, I cannot believe that has just happened. So from 5 horses, 2 Group 1s, a second that should have won earlier in the week, and then others that ran well. And
then I think a 5th in the Ascot Stakes at 28-1 or something stupid. I think you've rattled off pretty much. Those are some of the highlights. Yeah.
I was glad for Ed Walker that he had a couple of winners later in the week.
Love
he had
that.
one that got beaten, it was a close second earlier on. And then did you see what happened to Magira?
Oh, that was sad.
So she was well fancied for the sprint on the first day, but was a late non-runner. We couldn't really work out what happened, but she pulled a shoe off because she's a bit antsy down at the start. Pulled a shoe off late. Most of the field were in, and the trainer had said if she pulls a shoe off, you can state before the race, you can either allow them to run without a shoe or have them taken out. And there wasn't time basically to put the shoe back on because most of the field were loaded, so they just pulled her out. And she won the race at Haydock, where American Affair was 5th, 6th, and then he comes out and wins that. So gutting for them.
That
really
is gutting.
But he's also sitting on Almacam, who beat Ombudsman last time out at Sandown. Ombudsman won the Prince of Wales's, and now Almacam, they're sitting pretty for the Eclipse in a few weeks' time.
Look at you. It's actually doing my role that week. You actually are quite disconnected from the racing. You don't hear any interviews. No. You don't hear any recapping of analysis afterwards. And then I get back home at 9:30 at night and I'm straight to bed to get up in the morning.
In the boxes and stuff, what do they have on the screens in between?
Well,
the Ascot TV stuff?
Yeah, you can have racecourse TV, but we don't have the audio. We wouldn't have the audio on, right?
But I suppose it's a bit antisocial, isn't it? You're there socialising. He wants to sit there and watch the kind of previews.
And so you actually miss so much. And I was at Foss last Sunday. We're only recording this Tuesday. Monday I did the Betfair Ascot recap, and I watched a bit of ITV broadcast beforehand. But you just miss so much, all those stories. But my personal, a few of the Rebels Romance would have been high up there. But again, you mentioned Ed Walker, but Kieran Schumacher in the saddle.
Yeah, true.
So pleased
he was on
him.
for both of Ed's winners. Yeah.
Big priced horses, Sandringham in the jersey. Delivers for a man who supported him through thick and thin, quite literally. He got the sack from the Gosden job when we were actually on our seasonal break, but we didn't discuss it at the time. But, a lot of people thought it was a very unfair sacking. Field of Gold, who he essentially got the sacking because of, has come out and been a superstar and won the St James's Palace. Yeah. And
he's taken it all so well, hasn't he?
He's taken it so well. He's such a gent.
Yeah,
and he just takes it in his stride. And, deep down, somewhere down there, he must be gutted, but he wouldn't ever know it.
He's kept his cool. He's ridden
and he's been
well.
a gent.
He's had 2 winners at Ascot, which is more than most jockeys can claim.
And do you know what I loved as well is the goodwill around him. Jockeys, trainers, pundits like us. I don't know, it just feels like loads of people like, yes, that's great. That's a real, go on, Kieran. So hopefully he'll have a good rest of the season. Thrilled for that. But there's
and didn't Ed Walker tip his winner to someone quite important?
Yeah. So on the Saturday, Ed Walker was in the carriages, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In the royal procession, as were David and Fiona Howden, which was so cool because we stood in their box watching them, waving at them. It was class, absolutely class. And anyway, later in the day, I obviously see David. He said, how's your tipping going? I was like, a bit hit and miss. He said, Ed tipped me the jersey winner, and he also tipped it to the Queen.
Great.
How cool is that?
So she's quids in.
So she's
ended
quids
on
in.
End of the week well.
Yeah, and Jason Weaver tipped it as well. 25-1 was it? Or something stupid.
Yeah.
So but no, it was great. I did have
a brief chat to them. You're not really meant to relay what you talked about, though.
Are you
They
not?
don't. Do you think they listen to the podcast? They might.
King and Queen?
Yeah.
They definitely listen to the podcast. Massive podcast fans.
Massive podcast fans. I had a brief chat.
Well, did they come over to you?
So often, first race, we're in the paddock, spinning around, looking at horses whilst they're still in there, having just got out of the carriages, because it happens very quickly.
Right.
Carriages out, horses in, kind of thing. So I'm there charging around, and actually my cousin works for the Queen. So I was chatting to him, and then he kind of said, come and say hello. And I never know how to curtsy. Can you curtsy?
I've never even tried.
I basically looked like I was tripping over in an attempt to curtsy. And then he said, I don't know how you do it. All that energy you have to use, charging around, talking about the horses, every race, every day, in this heat. I don't know how you do it. I was like, that's really kind, thank you. Anyway, I relay this to my camera guys, who basically have to walk around the paddock backwards, carrying 25 kilos worth of cameras in the heat and out on the track and back again. And they're like, well, bugger that.
Never mind
I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, that's very good.
What about us?
Well, I didn't have the King and Queen in the Howden box, but I tell you, I basically had the King and Queen of Ireland in there because one of the days Brian O'Driscoll and his wife were in there.
Rugby player?
Yeah. Who, to be fair, I'd have been like you, a bit like, it goes a bit over my head, this stuff. But I did have a classic moment, so, because, you get introduced to everyone, you're chatting, it's all very relaxed. And these people are, they're just great, and they're just there for a good time, and they're, the Howdens are just so sort of enthusiastic with everything that you kind of get swept up in it. And so I kind of got introduced to Brian fine, Brian's wife Amy, and I sit down, which I'm chatting away with Amy, it's sort of pre-lunch, and you just meet someone and immediately you're like, wow, she's got, like, whatever it is, she's got it. It's just real special energy, really kind of
Riz.
Yeah, there you go. Got Riz,
Riz.
Yeah, just that, basically. And anyway, a bit later in the afternoon, I took them down to the paddock, real crack with them, just good fun, Irish couple, solid as a rock.
Yeah.
As we're coming out of the paddock, bump into Gina Bryce, who I obviously work with on Sky, and I introduced her very briefly to Brian. I think we were some other people as well, but Brian and Amy, and she says hi to Brian, and then she's like, oh, Amy, hi, I feel like I already know you, but I think I just follow you on Instagram, and like, great to meet you, or something like that. And we wander off, and I'm thinking, like, I don't know, like, I just, like, Brian and his wife, why would Gina follow?
You assumed he was the star and she was just a wife, but she's not.
I did presume that,
no.
and I'm mad with myself for
bad.
presuming that. But it was never said to, it was just, I don't know, it was bad presumption in 2025, really bad presumption. Turns out Amy is
the star.
A star.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
Oh, fine, that makes you feel better. She's called Amy Huberman.
Yeah.
Which I had no idea about. And I think she's an actress, a writer, like very funny comedian.
Awesome.
Apparently, like really big in Ireland and very funny on Instagram. I now follow her on Instagram.
I have to give her a follow.
And I mean, any of my Irish friends or anybody who's anywhere near closer to like pop culture than me, it's just like, oh my God, she's hilarious. And she's clearly, I mean, just one of those special souls.
So you two were sparring off each other, were you? Jokes,
the bands are flying. No, not really. I mean, she would outshine most of us every day of the week, put it that way, including her husband, to be honest with you. She's a proper star.
Well,
so, yeah.
Good on him. He can have the
I mean, he's great too, but she was just, So, but you meet loads of great people in that box. I mean, it's very clangy, isn't it? Clang, 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 clang.
Clang?
Name dropping, clang.
Yeah. Any howlers? Anything go wrong?
No, there was a moment where I was meant to meet Andrew Strauss in the paddock and sort of got distracted and was having a bottle of water with Kevin Blake, and then somebody rang me and was like, oh, Andrew Strauss in the paddock looking for you. So Andrew Strauss?
I'm looking at you blankly.
Cricketer, I believe.
Okay.
No, he is a cricketer. So I was like, oh yeah. And then I came out and actually Ed was like, Vanessa Andrews over there. I was like, okay, off I went. But like all these people are just so cool.
Like
they
all these amazing people.
Yeah, then they don't. They're just people. I don't know. Like people say to me what they like, or that box itself is just everyone's just sound, and everyone's been beautifully hosted in a beautiful environment and a great race day. There's no bad vibes there. Everyone's just having a good time.
Yeah.
And I'm there just chat a bit away about racing.
And getting paid for it. Great.
Yeah, I know.
Great.
I know. Please don't ever take that job off me. It's the best thing ever. It's the best job in racing. I promise you, it really is. It's just class. And fundamentally, I mean, David.
Can we swap next year? You can go and sweat in the paddock. I actually at one point did have sweat running down my cleavage.
What, into your slippy stick-on bra?
Yes, it was really rank. I had to get tissues. And,
was there any any howlers from you? Any real clangers? Anything bad happen? before we wrap up? There must have been something. I mean, other than
Well, I did ask when Luke was
any
in the...
chafing? Do you have any chafing?
No chafing, thank you very
See
much.
if she wore Spanx.
No, only feet, so you need the talcum powder trick.
Yeah, but then
right?
the talcum powder turns to paste, essentially.
Not really. I don't actually have that sweaty feet, so you just have to keep reapplying the talcum powder.
Right. You look like you've got a load of coke on your feet.
Well, exactly. When Luke was in the paddling pool, I literally blurted out the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, "Oh, I wonder if Luke's wearing any boxer shorts."
What on air?
Yeah. Oh. I know, because one minute he's there in his morning suit, and the next he's naked in the paddling pool. And I don't think he had the
second pair of boxers.
Well, yeah, or the forethought to take some Speedos with him. So
No.
I was like, what is he wearing in there? And then, if he's wearing his boxer shorts and he puts his trousers back on, they're not going to be all soggy.
Oh,
I'm guessing he would have taken them off.
Gross.
And put the trousers back on.
I did, with the sweat factor, I did get towards, like, there was parts of certain days where I actively chose not to greet people with, like, hugs, like, physical touch.
Oh, no, I was really no kissing. You need a hat, Aska, with, like,
Yeah, but you're a bit no
prongs
kissing
coming
anyway.
out the
You're
front.
so unapproachable. I don't think anybody comes up to you with the
That's so
double kiss.
unfair.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
unapproachable. You're the, like, tall, scary one. Am I unapproachable? Someone said that to me this week. They were like, "You're really intimidating." I'm like, "I'm not. Am I?"
I only said that to touch a raw nerve, and it's literally gone fishing. And
Although you're not
bitten.
wrong with me being like, "Don't kiss me, don't kiss me." Sweaty men coming up to you at the end of the day trying to kiss you. Ugh. So, oh no, am I really unapproachable?
No, you're not. You're not. I find you very approachable.
Oh, thanks. Am I intimidating? No?
No. I think sometimes I wonder if we're both a bit
You
intimidated.
thought I was, though, to begin with.
Yeah,
Maybe I give up
yeah.
that air until you
I
get
think
to
the
know
thing
me.
is I've said this to you before, we actually do have to wrap up, but
My
I
gin
think
and
the thing
tonic's
is,
run out.
yeah,
This is disastrous.
is that you're very, like, you're so perfect.
No, that's such bollocks.
But
I'm
it's
really
just,
not.
it's just like, I used to look over at you and just be like, look at her.
Really?
Not really, no.
And on that note, I don't think we've got time for like listener questions or anything because we've had such a busy time wrapping up Aska. But
Oh my God,
in our
it's
next
actually
episode,
so long, we need to wrap
we
up.
can do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Bye.
Why don't you wrap up this time?
No, bye.
Yeah, bye. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time. Bye.